decision at the end of the day to just keep making it the way we just made it.
With art joining the pantheon of horror icons, was it ever a discussion, or did any studio come to you and with a crossover or anything? You know, like art versus Michael Myers or something? Was that ever something that was thrown around? Even this joke?
Something interesting has been thrown my way, but I can't say what it is. But it is something cool with a really cool IP, and I become friendly with the filmmaker. And who knows, something down the line, you know. Who knows what's going to happen in 20 years? Right? Everything's possible.
Well, talking about the future, I mean, looking back at Terrifier 2, it felt like that was the moment art stopped being a slasher villain and became a mythological figure. At what point during the creation of art did you first realize he commanded a trajectory beyond just kills, that he had a purpose, not just a persona?
Well, even going back to the short films, especially the second short film, Terrifier, he was pretty much instantly supernatural. He was sort of teleporting around and doing all the rules. But once I decided to bring art, supernatural, because ultimately almost all your classic villains or slashers become supernatural at some point. But the filmmakers sort of gloss over that element, and they don't really dive into it and explore it. It just sort of becomes the traditional trope of what the boogeyman is or does. Like, they just become supernatural. You're not really supposed to ask too many questions or dive into, well, what is that evil entity that's either resurrecting them or driving them? So I really wanted to dive into that element more than anything and make the evil character in and of itself. So that became exciting, and I knew that, you know, at some point we really have to give this character a backstory. I'm sure you've all heard now that I'm going to reveal his backstory now in part 4, where I'm going to get going. I know a lot of people, some people are nervous, right? Because that could destroy the character if you do that, if you don't do that the right way. And I love the ambiguity of Art the Clown. I think that is so important to why he works. So I just wanted you to know that I believe that there is a way to sort of have your cake and eat it too when it comes to delivering this backstory that's not going to fuck up the other movies, right? So just rest easy.
Do you have a conclusion in mind for art, or is the fact that it doesn't have a conclusion what gives it so much power?
I don't want to say whether or not there's a conclusion for art, but there is once I wrote Terrifier 2, I knew a conclusion, a definitive conclusion to this franchise, let's put it that way. I know, like, I knew exactly, like, to the shot, pretty much how this was going to end.
What? And it will be part 4.
Yeah, it'll be part 4.
All right, well, David, with your portrayal of art, without spoiling anything that you may know or may not know, how have you evolved the way you perform him as the character's own lore and mythos has expanded, especially going into 3?
Well, I kind of look at him constantly evolving himself. Because, you know, starting with part 1, he was human, and he's resurrected at the end of that. So he's like, oh, he's a lot more confident, cocky. So he's like, yeah, I came back from the dead. Take that, Jesus. He actually came back twice, so there you go. but so I was like, okay, going to part 2, it's going to be a lot more cocky and arrogant. It's going to be a lot more reckless with ways to do it, because he doesn't think he can be defeated, and it comes up against this adversary that also can't hurt him. And so that kind of sets him back on his heels a little bit, you know, chops off his head. Spoiler. So it's like, okay, so part 3, when he comes back, okay, so he's kind of been dead, and he actually knows there's something out there that can hurt him too. So he's got a lot of unbridled rage built up, and he's also still wanting to have fun too. It's Christmas. You gotta have fun. So it's like, okay, well, how can we balance that? Having so much jolly fun with what he's doing, and then he gets down to business with and with that one, he really had someone really got. We had a little bit in part 2 with the Pale Girl, but in part 3 we had Vicky there after Pale Girl had taken over as he guided his force for him to like, okay, yeah, you're having some fun, but now you got a mission to do. You got to get rid of this girl and all the other people around her because they're a threat to us. But like, once we get that all set up, then we can have more fun. So I was like, okay, so he's a man with a mission now. But then I love how in the part 3, that's like when he gave me the script for part 3, the one part I was like, whatever you do not change this ending. Because I love how it ended with both Leanna and Art losing their powers and getting back to square one. And so that's really setting Art back in a whole way. So I'm excited to see where we can take Art going forward in part 4. Because now it's like, oh god, I don't have any powers now, but also he's got a real bruise because he wants that back. And he also wants to get her fired. So I'm very excited to see where we can go forward with this.
Have you read what Damien has written for part 4?
No, and I love how he just kind of laughed there, because he knows stuff that I don't know, and it pisses me off.
Yeah, I think it's
I might be way off on things. I have no idea. I have no idea.
The whole time he was speaking, it was just fart noises in my
Yeah. Womp, 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 womp.
I didn't get it all pretty good.
I think that darkness of what you're talking about mixed with like the emotional core. Part 3 is what really makes that film unique and hit so hard. And make the core hit even harder in this one in some way. It just feels more visceral. You feel really connected to these characters. How did your growing awareness of, I guess, art's cultural resonance in the horror community affect your writing and performance choices in T3?
I mean, when you start to realize what these movies mean to people, and that's not foreign to me because I am a hardcore horror fan. I've been coming to these conventions as a fan since I'm 12. I've been watching these movies since I'm 3, so I mean, they really have a big impact on your life. So when you see people with tattoos and dressing up as these characters and just giving you letters of how they've gotten them, like I said, gotten them through some really deep personal things, you take it very seriously, and I never want to phone these movies in. And I want these movies to have a shelf life. A lot of movies, they come out, they're celebrated, and then they quickly just disappear. And I want these to, if I can be so blessed to have them last, younger generations to be able to celebrate them. So I love to take, not that I love, but I'm willing to take all sorts of criticisms, and I'll dive into the fucking lion's den. I'll go on YouTube, Letterboxd, anywhere, and I want to read what people are saying about the movie, the good, the bad, the ugly. And if there's sort of a resounding note, a negative critique, you might want to take that into consideration moving forward, right? You can't just be like, well, fuck it, it's my imagination, they'll take whatever I get. It's like, no, there's a relationship here, it's like I'm giving you something, but you're giving me something back, right? It's sort of it's a dance, two-way street. So I want you guys to appreciate what I'm doing, what I have to offer. So I take that very seriously, and you can really get some constructive criticism from listening to things. Yeah.
And you guys, you talked about just having this legacy that kind of goes on forever. That generations will discover this film. What do you think is the thing that makes it? Hey, Mr. Dan Lewin, how's it going? Yeah!
It's fucking dead. He didn't mean to interrupt. What's up, buddy? How's it going, man? Very nice to meet you. There you go.
Give it a second and it'll pop up.
Very nice to meet you and my brothers of Monsters. Hey everybody, God bless. I'm sorry I'm late.
I'll do a contest to Damien, but as a horror fan yourself, okay?
Yes.
What do you think it is about the Terrifier franchise that gives it that longevity? It's going to be a film franchise that people will discover generation to generation. What makes it so different?
Well, I think that Damien was smart enough to keep a great actor silent. Because we remember the great silent actors for 100 years. And I think that's what you've done. And you've got the perfect actor to play it. But that's what I think. What do you guys think? Yeah? And everybody tries to mimic, the Freddy Krueger, there's your lunchbox or whatever joke he would say that they would come up with a joke and then they'd have to make a kill to match it. And keeping the clown silent and making it grand. How do you say that? Grand Bourguignon? Grand Bourguignon? David, if we go out to dinner, we should order the Grand Bourguignon.
I would love to see what they bring you.
Well, they bring a plate of red spaghetti. But because he's such a smart guy, and these movies are made with love. That's the other thing. I'm almost done talking. You know, New Line and Universal and all the people putting out those huge movies, they're made by committee. Right there's the committee. That's why the movies are great.
Well said, man. Given the increased budget that you had to work with on this one, how did it change your approach?
It was, you know, it's interesting because in some ways it really made my life easier, and in other ways it made it a lot harder. Actually, Terrifier 3 was the most stressful movie out of the trilogy because we had the most money. Because we had the most money, you know, we had great crew members and great actors on this one, but we really had to, like, you're locked into a schedule, and once that train leaves the station, like, you gotta go and you can't stop. And also, you have a lot more eyes looking over your shoulder and people on set watching every move you make, which is very nerve-wracking. It's not the most pleasant way to make a film. But on the flip side, it was the first time I was able to hire a professional makeup team to come in who could execute the effects on a level that was even better than what I could do on Terrifier 1 and 2. Because it's very difficult to direct a film and do the makeup effects. It almost never happens on this scale. You know, and also, that's one of the reasons why Terrifier 2 literally took years to make. Because me and my producer, Phil, we really did almost all the special effects ourselves, which is really wild. And we were just shooting like 18-hour days, 6 days a week sometimes, and you can't do that with unions and stuff. It's a lot of regulations. So, you know, I was able to focus more with the other departments and really focus on the production design, work with my actors more, and lighting. So it was a lot better that way than part.
And David, you've always had this very tight dance between your physicality and the practical effects, and a real relationship that you kind of cultivated with Damien here on that. Did working with a new team change your experience or change how you synchronize your performance with the gore in any way?
Not too much, because Damien was still there a lot. You know, he was. When we did the first few films, he was doing my makeup, so we had a lot of conversation, coming to the chair together to go over the day or whatever we were planning on doing. So, but I still had a lot of those moments still with him and stuff like that. So it didn't really change too much. I think it kind of freed him up in a lot of ways, just to really focus on actually filming, so he wasn't kind of stressed on the makeup as much as he had in the past. He still can't help it though. He's still got to come over and say, no, of course. He's got his fingerprints in there.
I got the fake blood.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that part 3 was probably the most pleasant for you because of the regulations, and we didn't make him film for 20 hours.
Yeah.
He could, 12 hours and that's it, he's gone, or he's got overtime now. It's a different ballgame.
So definitely. Because it would have been a nightmare if you were just doing the makeup yourself, because it wasn't just my makeup they were doing. They had to do so much more on Samantha that played Vicky in this than I had. I mean, mine was taking maybe about an hour and a half to put on. Hers took about 8 hours to put on every single day. So that was a nightmare logistically for him to have to do. It was just like, no. So I was very grateful we actually had a competent makeup team from Tinsley helping out with us. It really helped ease a lot of the stress and helped flow a lot better.
And Dan, you've been on a million movie sets of all shapes and sizes. What did you notice that was different about how Damien ran a set?
Well, he's a nice person. So there's that. We laugh in the morning, we laugh while we're shooting it, we laugh when we're not shooting it. You don't always get that. It's not that other people are actors, but you know, I got to know Damien with the Lee Brothers on screen, and I just felt you can't not fall in love with the guy and the man can love a man. I think they can. I love Damien.
Love you back.
Thank you. And so, I mean, look, you got him. Phil, by the way, if you get too serious, believe me, Phil Falcone will bring you back to a reality. If you say, Phil, I need 2 more minutes in the makeup chair, get that. Can I let that makeup cost? Get that. So, you know, hopefully this isn't being live streamed. Because he might be in the mob, I'm not sure. I don't know where the money comes from. But we, you know, we're friends making a movie, and that's different than anything. And I wish that you guys could all come and see what it's really like. Because you'd be like, hey, take this a little more seriously. Because we take it seriously. And we'd be like, yeah, no, we're taking it serious. But we're shooting it serious. It's like a game of Frogger, sir. I've seen you move up. Very good. You made it close. Hopefully you weren't trying to do it without being noticed. I'm sorry that I mentioned it.
I gotta say though, no joke, I think David would agree, out of the 3 movies, the hardest we ever laughed on set was filming the bar scene in Terrifier 4. That was the most fun I've ever had, and there were just so many moments where I just wasn't even directing anymore. I was just watching and with at the monitor and just pissing my pants. It was just so good.
I was pissing my pants too.
I think we have a clip, I believe, of Art killing Santa. I believe, or do we have that? I think. We roll it. Art killing Santa clip?
I've only seen this at the premiere.
His face.
I have
Not many. I think we have two heads, maybe like.
Yeah, you have 2 heads and 2 hands and 2 legs, I think.
That's it.
Wow.
And like, yeah, and if the 2 heads don't work, they're like, damn. We're going to try one other thing. Phil goes, sit down, I'm going to hit you in the face with a hammer.
It's fine. For all your kills, David, there's so much personality in it, and it feels like a lot of that personality comes from what you're just doing improvisation-wise, and what you're doing with where you have to end up that goal, and your personal flair of how you portray art. Is there a conversation that happens between you and whoever you're killing, in this case, Dan, before you film a scene like that?
Sometimes things just happen in the moment too, and we're like, oh, that's cool, we'll keep it in. But like with us in that thing, he was doing so much great improv with the dialogue there. It was just he was just throwing so much comic gold to me. Like, oh my God, you give me so much to work with. I'm loving it. I'm like about family. I'm like, oh, I love this. So that there's a lot of playing around with that night. It was just great. I loved it. It's absolutely loved it.
I thought that was his best performance facially in the movie. That scene and in the mall with the children. I remember going up to him and just being like, "Dude, this is like you're in the zone right now. This is magic. I'm seeing it here." Sometimes you just really feel it as the most expressive and animated he's been. Sometimes it sucks because he does so many good things, and that you have to choose. It just comes down to like your subjective taste when you're in the editing room. It's like, do I like that expression better or that expression? And it's like Sophie's choice. We got to leave one on the cutting room floor. We hope we make the right decision. So, but yeah, I mean, art's the most expressive in part 3, I think, for sure. Most nuances come through.
What was for you going toe to toe against David in that scene and improving against an actor who's not saying anything, but just with his facial muscles and the things he was doing? How did that empower your improv?
Well, we also had Clint Howard. I got it, me. Like Clint, well, no matter what we did, there was then this other person who was like, I will insert myself into the scene. And he was so perfect. So I've seen the movies and I've known David around the conventions. Working with him under David's direction was great. And it was like, remember we worked out like, you know, the slow burn toward each other, the piss on the, like the realization that it's like you're peeing. And it couldn't just be like you're peeing, it had to be like, you wouldn't be peeing on me, would you? Can I tell us just a silly thing? I have a friend who I may have told some of you this at the table, who's a cop. And the cop, my best friend John Lamont, who was on the set, remember the last time, he didn't see the scene in the bar until the killing. And he said, hey Dan, when they're doing a movie like that, and they make it look like he's spitting on your face, he goes, now how do they do that? And I said, he spit in my face. And the song was like, oh God, oh God. And we got a few good spits, a few good.
I love the one take that we did where I was going to do this thing and you're in the middle of your dialogue and this time you don't have to spit in my face, Cloudy, blah, blah, and he just kept going. I'm like, I almost spit there because I was laughing. They gave us 3 days to shoot that sequence, which in Terrifier 2 would have been 3 hours. Dan, we got to get you in, we got to get you out, we got to do the kill. So, and Christian Tinsley and his crew, I mean, great contributions. But all in all, that we get to sit here and talk about this, trust me, you guys have followed the right horse. You've gambled on the right horse. This man and that man, they're never going to let you down. I will be playing my brother in the next film. I haven't figured out. I know what you're all going to write, you know, more Santa, I don't know. Maybe he's in hell. I don't know.
We've opened the doors to the supernatural, and anything can happen. Anything can happen.
I always joke, there's no actor, David knows this, no actor in the Screen Actors Guild who couldn't, like, convincingly convinced someone that he could play his own brother. My brother looks just like me. I'll shave the mustache. I'll dye my hair. I'll wear a girdle. I'll talk like this because he's from South America. Whatever. I don't know why they would talk like that, South America.
We're gonna roll one more clip here. This would be Christmas Kill. Let's do it.
So brutal.
Yeah, this is something else.
By the way, the sound effects are brilliant. So good. Godfather moment.
So, I mean, the opening scene of the Terrifier film is everything, right? It's the tone setter, it's the promise to the audience of what they're about to see. How much time and how important was getting that opening scene just right?
Super important. That was a big fight I had with Phil one day. Really? Yeah, on set, like telling him we absolutely need 2 more days to shoot this scene to do all the effects properly. Because they take forever. As you know, 99% of the stuff we do is practical, which means you build it physically. It's all rubber, it's all props, it's blood pumps. And it could take 2 hours, 3 hours just to chop off an arm, and if that goes wrong, you have to reset the arm, and that could take another hour and a half before you know your day's over. And like these scenes consist of sometimes 8 games. So you can't just cram these into one day and shoot the scene as well. So, but I knew setting the tone for this one, especially, I knew this was going to be Christmas. There was already rumors just based on the teaser that, oh my God, they're going to kill kids now in this movie, and there was all kinds of controversy. Are they really going to kill kids? Are they going to kill kids the way we killed Allie in the bedroom scene in Terrifier 2? And I didn't want to do that. Of course we were going to kill kids. Right? That's why I did that.
It was a blast.
Because it's genuine to Art's character. There's no way, right? When I'm writing and I, get to a scene like that, and I have a moral, the morals kick in, and I'll say, should I do this? Would he do this? Is this too far? And then Art will say, you pussy, this is exactly what I would do. You know I would do it. And that's what happens. And this is a child's holiday. He's going to take total advantage of that. So I really wanted to set the tone. But that being said, I thought that there was a way to kind of subvert expectations where we're known for being excessive and showing everything. I wanted to say, could we kill a kid now, but you don't see anything, you just hear it? Could that be as effective as if we did show everything? And that's one of my favorite moments in the movie, is just hearing the kid get murdered and not seeing anything. So that was important to set that up, show that we're not afraid to kill kids, but not go too far with the line, but then deliver what you expect and want to see when you start killing the parents. So it's kind of another way of having your cake and eating it too. And just big shout out to Christy Fox, who plays the mother in the beginning of that. She really set the tone for what's to come back.
And you know, Phil had, if he goes, I need 2 more days, Phil goes, look, Damien, I gave you some dead bodies. I don't want you to ask me where they come from. We can just chop up these dead bodies. Don't ask me where they come from somewhere. Doesn't matter. We'll just chop up real dead bodies. Nobody's gonna know.
Fell off a truck.
Yeah, they fell off the truck. I got a friend.
All right, we're getting the wrap notice, because they're going to go back to their booth and finish signing. So you're going to post it with a number on it. That's where you're going to go right after this. One more question before you go. I know there's a million more I'd love to ask, but art is becoming fully integrated with the Halloween season. It's been growing and growing. It's an incredible feat to create something that's doing it. Anything that we have to look forward to as we get to the fall, as we get to spooky season this year with art in the Terrifier franchise?
Oh my God, so many things that I am not at liberty to discuss.
Fair enough.
My God, is there anything I can say? I mean, there's toys that are coming out that we haven't even announced. There's video game things that we haven't even announced. There's something really cool that we haven't announced. But there's so much stuff. Like, I can't even keep up with half the things that are coming. So you're going to be swimming in the Terrifier world for the next few months.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
By the way, I'm going to beat you to all those dolls. I'll be buying them for my own collection. I just want to, it's important that we do a commercial. So they've moved, I'm not with my friends. I'm down the hall to the left. Like on your way to Starbucks, that's where I am. But David and I are putting on the Santa costumes tomorrow. And I know you guys have sold out your thing, but there's still availability for the Santa, Terrifier Santa photo op. It'd be a great Christmas card. No one's gonna know where you got it. God bless you all.
Thank you guys so very much. Thank you, everybody.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap for Friday night in the theater. We're back here tomorrow, 12 noon, with Julian Stone and his tribute to the Bride of Frankenstein 90th anniversary. So please come back tomorrow at 12.